From late 2021 to early 2022, I suffered a major manic episode. For 6 months, I spoke and thought like a delusional auctioneer, eviscerated my friendships, and just kind of watched my life, as I knew it, spiral out of control. About 1% of people worldwide suffer from bipolar disorder. My name is Tyler Adolfo, and I am one of them. Now, manic episodes have a reputation for being destructive, and they often have unforgiving consequences. This was the case for me. In my case, I burned bridges with friends, lost my job, and got expelled by my university. And as a consequence, I fell into a major depression upon coming out of mania. In many of my other videos, I talk about other elements of mania, what it felt like, and I talk about how I've been since then. But I want to make this video as a way to show how far I've come. I'm being vulnerable because it's my hope that others will find this interesting and, more importantly, informative, to cast light on everything mania, because I did suffer from a major manic episode. This is part 3 of my series reacting to crazy videos I filmed while manic. And in this particular video, we will be finishing up a video I filmed called United We Stand, Divided We Fall Thanksgiving Message, which was filmed and uploaded to my YouTube channel on Thanksgiving Day of 2021. You do not need to see the first 2 parts of this video in order to understand and follow this one, but I'll put the links in the description in case you're interested in checking those out. With that being said, why don't we get right into the video? So in the last one, we went up to timestamp 24:55, around there. So I'm going to start off there and let it play for a little bit. We'll just go to 24:56. So I will be pausing here and there just to provide some context as to what was going on in my mind, why I say the particular things I do. In advance, I just want to lastly say that I do not condone the things that I said, and these aren't necessarily representations of what I actually believe.
Kennedy, it's hard for me to find something to say negative about him, because I just...
It's almost like I have a stutter of some sorts. And in this video, you'll notice that I talk with an accent that I believed was similar to Kennedy's, because I genuinely believed to and adhered to the idea at this time that I was a relative of the Kennedy family.
Revere what he's done so much for this country, and I wish we had more John Kennedys on both sides. So, yeah, the Cuba crisis is the one thing that I would say is a negative. But overall, great, moral, upright, God-fearing man. Ronald Reagan. Now, Ronald Reagan created a lot of jobs for this country. He was someone who did not accuse his opponents of malicious intent. He had a great sense of humor. He was a patriot who loved this country. And I want you to remember what he said to Mr. Gorbachev: tear down this wall, not build the wall. Tear down this wall. Because united we stand, divided we fall.
United we stand, divided we fall. There's the title of the video. So yeah, as I said before, in the last one, I mentioned how this particular message was very politically themed, very religious themed. I believed in lots of religious and political messages at this moment in time. And if I remember correctly, I think that in this video what I was doing was I was going through presidents and naming examples of good things they did and examples of bad things they did. But we won't be taking a look at that of every president because we'll be here forever. But we will be watching selected clips till the very end of this video. The next timestamp we're going to is 27:09.
Problems in a way that instead of having a war on drugs, have a war on drug addiction. That's a big problem in this country, is that I don't think there's ever been anything we haven't wanted to declare war on. And having the humility to recognize that does not make me an isolationist. If people attack us, I support going after them. Peace through strength. There is wisdom in that philosophy.
Another thing you'll notice in this video is that my comments are very sporadic and all over the place. I go off on a tangent, and not everything that I say is necessarily connected to the title of the video. This is because one of the symptoms of mania is actually disorganized, distorted thinking. But to play a little bit of devil's advocate here, what's interesting too is I actually have a relative who has said to me that while I was manic, I was actually very convincing, and that the way I spoke was incredibly lucid, to the point that she actually believed some of the things that I was saying. At points, I believed that the Nazi agents were after me, that I was part of a government operation to stop them, and yet at the same time the government was after me. So the beliefs contradicted each other as well. Next, we're going to go to timestamp 2841.
But not too many of these particular ones, you can present that argument. But to accuse the media of working in concert to sow discord and division, they love this country just as much as you and I. And yes, they're allowed to have their biases and opinions. They're human beings. Any human being has biases. The important thing is that we recognize what the purpose of journalism is, which is to hold power accountable. That is the purpose of journalism. Journalism 101. Understanding that when they criticize someone who you revere, they are not doing so to be mean. They are doing so because it is their job. It is their job to cross-examine Democrat leaders. It is their job to cross-examine Republican leaders. It's not because they're out to get them. But when leaders say things, it is their job to say what those leaders say.
Interesting. So as I said, all over the place. In this excerpt, I'm now discussing my thoughts on the media, particularly mainstream media. I remember at the time thinking that I had major connections to them, and that's just speaking to delusions of grandiosity. And I really just thought that I had all the answers to everything that was wrong, which really goes to the grandiose title, United We Stand, Divided We Fall, and an hour, 19 minutes of me explaining that message, which isn't even a coherent message to begin with. So next we're going to go to timestamp 3025. Oh, I just had it. Man, this is harder than it looks. Getting it to go to the exact timestamp you want. I guess we're going to 3028.
Built upon. We have conversations based on logic, reason, and empathy, not on division and fear and accusing our opponents and those who disagree with us as being enemies. Let us come together as friends, not enemies. Let us come together as people who disagree and find that mutual understanding and compromise without sacrificing the values we believe in. There are ways to do that.
So again, acting like I play many roles. In this, I wear many hats. When I was manic, I was an expert in everything. And I guess you could attribute this particular line of thinking to thinking that I'm like a philosopher. Why can't I say this word right now? Philosopher. Next, we're going to go to timestamp 3505. Perfect.
Other people were as well. But safety was a big concern, not just among white Americans, but among all Americans, among black Americans. And we passed a series of laws that we still feel the consequences of today. We declared war on crime, when instead maybe we should have declared a war on generational poverty. And maybe instead of a war, imagine if they came together and worked together on policies to help uplift people out of poverty, understand and look at the reasons why people stay in poverty, and create equal quality of opportunity, not quality of outcomes, but the equal opportunity to achieve that high outcome regardless of the zip code that you're from, regardless of the color of your skin. What Senator Paul would say, regardless of the shade of your ideology.
There's lots of anaphora in this video, and I'm just mentioning this as someone who's always been intrigued by rhetoric, even before I was manic. An anaphora is when you repeat a particular word or phrase repeatedly. So when I say regardless of this, regardless of that, it's an interesting use of anaphora, which I did a ton more of when I was manic than I did when I was not manic, and I'm not sure exactly why. But at this time, I had some racing thoughts, distorted thinking, I had flight of ideas, and yeah, so it's tough to pinpoint exactly why I did specific things, but I did them nonetheless. Next, we're going to timestamp 3932.
With a certain higher authority. But to suggest that this happened for no reason, that people hate us because we're rich and have freedom, it's just an illogical argument. It's not even an argument. That's the type of mob mentality that happens in that has led to some of the most worst things in history. But I don't accuse.
When I say mob mentality, I just want to comment on this. This is a phrase that I mentioned a lot while I was manic to people that I interacted with. For some reason, I had a fear of mobs. And one connection that could possibly be linked to this is that at the start of my manic episode, there was a sexual assault on my campus at one of the other fraternities. Well, an alleged sexual assault. I don't think anything came of it, but it was very traumatizing for a lot of people, including myself. And a bunch of mobs, as a result, attacked that fraternity and attacked other fraternities in Greek life that weren't even involved in that. And me being a member of a social fraternity myself, I had a fear that a mob would come to our house, and one never did. But I developed this fear of mobs, and pretty soon that fear of mobs transcended Greek life community at my university and became connected to larger happenings throughout the world in geopolitics, foreign policy, and so forth. Next, we're going to go to timestamp 4757.
Like that. How dare you, sir? How dare you? Mr. President Barack Obama, I respect your service. You probably already know this video is coming out because I know you're listening to me. Well, if you were in office, you would be listening to me. I appreciate what Snowden did, and I also appreciate you that you adapted to that reality. You had the humility to come forth and say, you know what, here's the reason why we do this, but you know what, Snowden's right that there's ways we could do it better. Mad respect for you for doing that. Mad respect for you. You created a great economy.
All right, ways we can do it better. And at the beginning of this segment, I talk about how he might be listening into me. And this was a major fear that I had at this moment in time. And I connected it to a real life happening of Edward Snowden. And if you don't know the story, he worked for the NSA. And if I remember correctly, it's been quite a few years, but he exposed how government is kind of too involved in our private lives when it comes to technology, and that they have the ability to listen in without warrants and that sort of thing. And data collection is incredibly scary on the scale that it exists. And so I connected it to the real life happening of what Snowden did, exposing the National Security Agency. And I had a very real fear that I was being wiretapped. I remember towards the end of my manic episode, this fear escalated greatly. And I actually thought that my own house was wiretapped, to the point I would unplug things and try to look inside the outlets. I was afraid to go to the restroom because I thought there was a camera inside of the fan and the vent inside of the bathroom. I would tell my mom to stay away from the window because people might be watching and monitoring and recording us. And so you can see how things definitely intensified. Next, we're going to timestamp 5401. We'll go to 5358. That's close enough.
Do not respect is when she goes on national television and talks about alternative facts. Facts are facts. We are all entitled to our opinions, but we are not entitled to our facts. Now, I know that you have the best interests of this country, Donald, that you are a patriot. One thing that I respect of you is that you've done something that many others wanted to do but could not. The First Step Act, with addressing some of the inequities in our society with respect to race, inequality, and representation, some of the flaws of our justice system. For you to collaborate on that initiative, I respect that. But I think...
Okay, so in this, I'm now talking about criminal justice reform. And by the way, just a reminder that the title of this video is basically supposed to be a Thanksgiving message. That's what the theme of this video is supposed to be. But for some reason, I'm going through various presidents and stating things I liked about them and things that I dislike about them. So I went off on a tangent, clearly, and continue to represent disorganized thinking. Next up, we'll go to timestamp 104:58. Now, this is going to be even more difficult to get it at the right place, but we'll make approximations and get as close as we can. We're almost done with the video here. Here we go, 104:59, that's close. If it will load. There we go.
God. And there's some other G that's eluding me at the particular moment. But I'm sure one of you could fill me in. One of you could fill me in on what the missing G is. You can fill me in on what the missing G is. Glory, God, and it's eluding me. But the point is, instead of those three G's, how about we have compassion, courtesy, and courage?
So instead of the G's, let's have the C's. I thought I had all the answers. I thought I knew how other people should live their lives. I thought that I was better than other people. And, I don't necessarily disagree that compassion, courtesy, and courage are good things. Of course they're good things. So I'm not even going to contend with that. Even a broken clock is right twice a day, they say. Next, why don't we go to 107:31.
An undergrad called Profiles in Courage, where he talked about people in American history who took acts of courage even when it was unpopular to do so. We need more of that. We need more John McCain's. We need more Barack Obama's. We need more Joe Biden's. We need more Kamala Harris's. We need more Bernie Sanders. We need more Rand Paul's before he...
All right, this list makes zero sense. So I list off a bunch of Democrats, and then I said we also need Rand Paul. These are people who have completely conflicting ideologies. I guess who I trusted was also not making too much sense. It wasn't particularly cogent. It wasn't logically sound. Because, I list off people who have completely different ideas and visions right there. Next up, we're going to go to 115:33. So now we're going up into my closing thoughts. Let's see if I actually return to discussing the actual theme of this video, because I haven't thus far, and we're an hour 15 into an hour 19-minute video.
So what are you thankful for? And think back to the wisdom of some of those great leaders. What did John Kennedy say? Unfortunately, he's not still alive because goddamn we need more John F. Kennedys right now. But he said, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. But most importantly, I'm thankful for my mother, Elzera Elizabeth Cleveland. She means the world to me. I was very fortunate to have a role model in my life to help guide me and help me develop the morals that I have. I know I'm not perfect. I made a lot of mistakes. I have no end goals with this video I'm creating with the except sole purpose that I want to help facilitate discourse in some way. This might be seen by less than 152 people. It might be seen by 5 million or 20. It makes no difference to me. If one person sees it and gets any piece of wisdom or benefit from it, then it's a win in my view.
I do maintain that mindset very much to this day, at least on my mental health content. I figure that if even one person gains something of value from the mental health content I've been putting out, for me trying to increase understanding of bipolar disorder, then I do see that as a win in my book. Just to take that logic and apply it to something different. But I'm curious how many views this has. It looks like this got 48 views before I took it down and privated it. And I will mention, for those interested in seeing this full video, I will be unprivating it after I upload this video. So for those who are interested in seeing the parts that I may have skipped, that I definitely skipped, you could see the full thing without interruption from myself, for those who might want to study it or so forth. And I'll leave it unprivated for the remainder of this month. That way others can go and see it. So for all of March 2024, this video will be unprivated for others to view and encapsulate the full experience of the manic mind of Tyler Adolfo. Now we're going to our last clip. We're going to timestamp 1:19:11, and we'll let it just play till the end. We'll go to 1:19:08. There we go.
that you are worth it to God. You are worth it to this country. You are worth it to me, even if you don't know me. I'm going to challenge all of you to issue a video response to this video of your own, saying what you are proud of, what you are thankful for. What are you thankful for? Who are you thankful for? Thank you, everyone, for your undivided attention. Remember that united we stand, divided we fall. This is the United States of America. Let us never forget that. God bless America.
Nice little awkward pause at the end right there. All right, everybody. That was United We Stand, Divided We Fall Thanksgiving message. If you didn't see the first part to react in this particular video, again, it will be in the description down below. That one is called Reacting to Crazy Videos I Filmed While Manic 2. So you can see the first 25 minutes. And again, I'll be unprivating this full video upload so that others can view it and study it for those who are interested. But thank you so much for watching. As you can tell, there was a proliferation of politics, and at this moment in time, as I mentioned, I kind of thought that I was part of this clandestine operation to solve the world's problems. These were tumultuous times for Tyler Adolfo. I was living in a metropolis of grandiosity. Delusions were my guide. And it's important to just say that, there's moments I laugh in this, but at the end of the day, bipolar disorder was instrumental to my downfall. I lost my job, I lost many friends, I lost my education, I got arrested, and the list goes on and on and on. But I hope you found this interesting. I hope you found this informative. If you did so, please put it down in the comments below so I know that you'd like me to react to more of these videos, because I uploaded many videos of me reacting to crazy videos that I filmed while manic. Of me manic and, going on these rants and tangents. And I could definitely do more reaction videos to those. But thank you all for watching. My name is Tyler Adolfo. Please hit that subscribe button if you are new here. I hope that you all have a wonderful day.